Have you taken the time out to follow my Instagrams?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this spiritual, meeting with me. I started doing YouTube videos. It's been a year now, and I finally feel prepared to talk about my spiritual experiences with the hopes that people that find it for the spiritual community and everybody else can learn from it and can share and relate and feel the oneness in all of us, and knowing that we all have each other's back, and this journey that we're experiencing here, it has a purpose, yes, and we're not alone. That's the bottom line. And it is rather sad that we are living in the upside down. I feel we are spiritual beings having physical experience, but then we are behaving as if we are more flesh beings than we are spirit beings. And so with that being said, it is now all of our duties to remind each other that, hey, we're not physical beings alone. We are multidimensional beings. We're spiritual beings. We're here for a purpose, and that is why I like doing things that has to do with people's life purpose. I don't believe that we have the time to be dilly-dallying and just making love and having babies and living all the human enjoying the human aspects of our existence, the third dimensional things, without realizing that besides all that, we came here for one and one reason only, and each of us have our own personal divinity and path that we're here to fulfill. So with that being said, I'm just gonna just go with the flow and what comes to me. But first, let me introduce myself for the first time. I know some of you have watched my videos for a while and wonders, who's this girl, where does she come from, what is this? Anyway, so my name is Ajua Oforiata, because I'm not scared to mention all my name. I am protected because I call on my divine angels, my spirit guides, mighty ancestors to cover me in the white bright light as I speak about my personal experience in the spiritual path, with the true intentions of just uplifting, sharing information, holding each other's hands, and coming from a place of love, not a place of boastful energy, not a place to just let people know what I'm about. It's just really informational, coming from a place of love, unconditional love, everyone. That's the bottom line. So thank you all for being here with me. I was born and raised in Africa, Ghana. I lived most of my teenage years there, and I got married to an American, and I came here, and I've lived here all this time. I have beautiful children, teenagers and babies. Now, my spiritual path started as a teenager. It started with the man that I met, who was very Afrocentric and knew what he wanted. He was talking about Egyptology. He was talking about so many things. And at that time, I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and my family is very ingrained in Christianity. So I was a rebellious person anyway. I didn't really like the restrictions that the church gave, and having to go from door to door to preaching was so out there for me. But anyway, bringing this forward, let's move on to this part. Okay, the topic of my discussion with you with you guys today is I'm going to jump around and I'm going to speak with things that come to me, but I want to stick with the point that I'm trying to make here, which is how when you are in a spiritual awakening, when you are already awoken to who you truly are, you are naturally in divine guidance. Okay, you're being guided. And how I see how my plans, thinking that I'm planning my life the way I want to do it, and my goals and aspirations in life kind of was running in parallel line with the spirit guides and the angels' plans for me. How they've been involved in preparing me to bring me to this stage that I'm in at this moment, preparing me for this pandemic, preparing me for this point in time where I would have the time to do what I'm doing now. They've played a big role. And as I was going through it, I kind of thought about it every once in a while, but I didn't really see the grand picture because I didn't get to see a revelation of the pandemic. And that is a whole different topic because that saddened my heart and that brought so much out of me during this period anyway. So that's a different conversation. So let's stick to this one because then we'll be here all night. You know how we do when we have to talk. So in my life, I had planned that when I hit a certain age, I was not gonna work for anybody. I said when I hit 40, I don't care what I'm doing, where I am, who I'm with, whatever. I'm going to practice what I preach. I'm going to become the artist that I am. I am going to make money from it. I'm going to jump into the entrepreneur, life and let so whatever happen be. Okay? And when I said this, I was already awoke anyway. Before I was awoke, I was already saying this stuff. That when I'm 40, I'm going to be in my own space. I'm going to do what I came here to do. Okay, so I had plans that I would have another set of kids and I'll be in my house and I'll have my fashion line going and everything that was artistic. I didn't really think that I was going to be a spiritual teacher. Even after awakening, I didn't really know that I was going to be a spiritual teacher or someone that brings down the light and have all these, stuff going on. Even though my awakening brought so much gifts, starting with clairvoyance, through healing, through medium, and all this stuff that has unraveled since my awakening in 2011. Before then, I was still functioning as a spiritual being without me even knowing it. Okay, that's another story, like I said. So now 2 years down the lane, I was working a job in the fashion industry, trying to learn the ropes of how things go and all that stuff in the fashion industry, so that when I'm in age 40 and I'm here and I'm doing all that I'm supposed to do, I would know how to navigate the fashion industry. So I went into a job with the intention of growing with my degrees, my art degree, to gain more hands-on. Well, besides, interesting enough, I'm at this job for 3 years. I wasn't able to be promoted, but I was a great worker. I was doing my job well and everything. Time comes for promotion. Everybody else is getting promoted by me, not because I'm slacking or doing anything. It became an issue trying to get them to see my worth, which I was already expressing. But then the spirits will tell me, let it be, that things are the way they're supposed to be. Hang in there. And then it got to a point, the angels will tell me, when I have deep meditations and when they show up in my dreams, that I need to let it go. I cannot be at that job. During that time, I would see a lot of 33. First, I started seeing 13s. They were chasing me. 13s was chasing me, which means that, now I understood there was an ending coming, to the dreams that I've always worked so hard for. So my whole thing was, okay. So I like trying to save money so I would have capital to start my stuff. So I stayed with the jobs even though they weren't treating me right, and the angels were telling me to walk away, and the timing to me was not perfect enough. And besides that, I was trying to have another baby with my husband, which has been so difficult for a while. So all this was going on, and my spiritual stuff was also happening, and the angels were like guiding me and preparing me, like, let it go, let this job go. They were really consoling me through the whole process, because I went through a very bitter stage with that I wasn't getting the promotion. So long story short, moving forward with this, how they helped by preparing me was starting to tell me that I don't belong at my job, okay, and that I should accept things the way they were. All my friends left me there, and I still wasn't leaving. So they had a grand plan for me, because I felt like my money was not up to where I wanted it. So I was still dealing with all the mess and still going to my job, not adhering to what they were saying, because like I said, I had a plan, and I had to finish it. I had to execute it the way I wanted to see it go down. So even though the angels were telling me, let it be, this is not where you need to be, what I was also seeing was that people at my job was coming to me as a spiritual healer. I started doing readings. I started counseling people. They would come to me for advice. I worked in the back, and they naturally would gravitate towards me for healing and for information, and to release them and give them understanding of what was going on. I started doing tarot card readings at my job for people that just everybody loved being around me. So whilst they were telling me to walk away, they were also showing me the role that I had to play and how people were ready for me. And all that was like by the side. I wasn't even as confident to deal with people at that time. So what the spirits did finally 2 years ago was they were like, oh, we're about to stop you, okay? No matter what you think you're doing, we're about to stop you. They had a plan. So all the struggle to have a baby all these years, and I'm talking 7 years straight, okay? Nothing happened. I was barely even intimate. Then out of nowhere, first, after 7 years of trying to have a baby, I got pregnant. And my pregnancies are not easy. My goodness. They make me bedridden. So here I am. Now I'm forgetting the part. In the midst of all that, I became homeless. I was looking for a place to stay, a house, and I was waiting for approvals and things, and I was in between houses. So my life was not really stable during that summer. Then I found out I was pregnant and got sick and still didn't have a home yet. And so everything was going like chaotic, and I was still trying to go to work, but I became super sick to the point that I couldn't go to work, and I was forced to be bedridden by my doctor. So now I had to stay home, and I couldn't go to work anymore. So my life came to a standstill. The great news in all this is that I did get the house that I was looking for, that I had waited for 3 months and didn't even know if I was gonna get it. But I had this feeling, I foresaw it in my dreams. I saw myself and my children in the house that I wanted. So I let it go. No matter how long it took, I was like, I'm gonna get that house. I knew it because I had already foreseen it spiritually. So then I got the house, and then I was sick in the hospital throughout most of my pregnancy, being bedridden. So now my job has to come to an end, right? So I come home and I'm pregnant home with my kids. I'm in the house and everything. So now I have time for more spiritual stuff, right? I start meditating more than I normally would, because with my retail job I didn't have time to do all this stuff all the time. I was doing it, but it wasn't as strong. So I have the baby, I go through all that, and during my pregnancies I will meditate, and I was developing more gifts and having more spiritual experiences by the day. Every day was getting stronger. The angels became more pertinent in my life. They were showing me in dreams that my fashion is over. They don't want me to do that in so many ways. They want me to step into the spiritual path. I started to buy more tarot cards. I started to buy, that. I started doing more readings on a daily basis throughout my end of my pregnancy, when things wasn't as bad as the beginning. So then what happened is that I always knew somehow that I was going to do something for the, in the public eye, but I didn't know what, right? I said, I want to help. I want to, show people the way too, and tell them about my experiences. And trust me, I have a lot. This is just like a pen of the situation, but I didn't know the outlet. So somehow I got into YouTube and I started seeing all these tarot card readings and stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get on that. But okay, how do I go about it? I kid you not, every time I asked for any question, the angels were there to help. They told me what I was supposed to do, that I was supposed to teach and help. Everything. They were holding my hands throughout the whole time. So after I had my baby, like a couple of months later, I started to do the YouTube. And that is how I got here. Now, months is gone, and I'm practicing and getting comfortable with the camera and getting comfortable with healing work and all this stuff, and so much is happening spiritually, and I'm getting so many upgrades, and my gifts are getting more enhanced. My medium gifts are happening. My clairvoyance is even more vibrant. I'm getting healing abilities coming to me. I'm foreseeing all this in my dreams before it even happens, and all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. So then the pandemic happens. But what happened before the pandemic that I don't want to get it all messy was, I found a way to do the fashion, but then it was just for me, for my stage work. I wasn't thinking of trying to put it out there, because the angels were on me so much that if I tried to even do it, I wouldn't even feel good. So I would make the clothes and wear it for my show, for my videos and stuff like that. And so that is how I would get that expression out of me. And along the way, everything was going well. And then the pandemic happens. So when the pandemic happened, that is when I started to question myself. Why didn't I foresee this? What was I missing? Why didn't I ask the question? Why am I not doing more? Why am I not? It's like a whole wave of awareness happened to me, where I started to feel like now I'm starting to embody the energy, and then doing more of the node readings and all that was opening me up more and making me feel more attached and more like this is what I'm really meant to do. And I started to feel good. Now, someone that doesn't work anymore, my disabilities are over, whatever, all this stuff, I wasn't even able to do so much when I was working. Now that I'm not working, somehow I'm able to buy all the things that I need magically. I have extra money to spend. When I was working, I didn't have extra money to spend. But now that I don't work for anybody, that I'm doing spiritual work, my finances is open. So I'm like, I started to notice all this stuff. Then I started to realize how unimportant fashion is, and how I see why they didn't want me to do it in the first place. It's as if they knew that the world was going through it's not as if they knew what was coming, and they were preparing me for what matters. Okay, so the bottom line and the all story end, and making it short, they removed me from what I thought I was supposed to be doing, which was fashion, which now they're giving me the go ahead, but then they moved me away from it, making me believe that I don't need to do it. Okay, they moved me away from it by making me get pregnant when I wasn't even expecting it. That takes me away from my job, cuts that off. They get me out of there. They get me even out of the place that I lived, seclude me and bring me into the outskirts. So now my spirituality gets heightened. Even my husband and I separate for a while. in the same house, but we sleep separately, so that I wasn't getting intimate. So now my spiritual abilities were even getting stronger. The spirit guides did everything. My ancestors played a role in telling me, get away from your husband for a while, do this. I mean, so many synchronicities all prepared me. And what really made me realize that, oh, they had me planned down from head to toe till now, was the fact that when the pandemic hit, I realized that fashion is not that important. We need it, but how much do we really need clothing? How much? So I already even had implemented the spiritual aspect to my fashion and found the meaning to my fashion and changed it and upgraded it, but still I realized that fashion wasn't as important as being there to uplift humanity and speaking truth and helping them to go through the times of this chaos. And I started to realize the importance of my spiritual gifts as a healer, as a clairvoyant, as a medium, as a counselor, as the love bringer, as all that I am. The goddess within me, everything about me was needed, and I felt it. And I was like, wow. So this is what they were doing. They were preparing me for the time where the world would need me more. And I would also have an understanding of the importance of my own mission. Okay? My own mission. Now don't forget that I had my own mission. But this mission now, to my understanding, I realized that it is pertaining to my earthly third dimensional realm and thinking and needs. But the other higher aspects of me had different plans for me. And so all of it was merging, and the spirits were making me to see the importance of the other aspects of me and why I even came here in the first place. Now don't forget that the fashion and the artistic aspect of me is part of me from my life. I've done it already. That's why I have a divinity towards it. That's why I feel so connected to it. I was born into an artistic family also. So it was already in me, and it was something nobody could take from me. But the spirit guides did it. They took me away from it, and they showed me why it's important to step into my life purpose of being who I am now. Now, the interesting thing to me that made me realize that I've always been a divine being, before I even woke up to realize who I was that I had planned that I was going to do what I wanted to do. Alright, like I told you before, when I hit 40, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I don't care if I'm poor or what. I'm going to be the artist that I was supposed to be. And just at the timing that I wanted, my plans and their plans together merged to become this great plan that is unraveling in front of me. And it's my life purpose. It is all merging and it's working. Now, finally, I see the role of the fashion. I'm able to bring the spiritual aspect of the fashion, and I'm merging it and bringing it, and they are giving me the go ahead, but they wouldn't let me until I started doing what I'm doing now, being out here for the community more, getting out of my head and what I wanted to do, standing in my own way of my divinity. I had so much beautiful things, experiences happening to me, beautiful gifts shining through me, but I was using it towards myself, trying to find my own, ways and manifest, and, getting caught up in all this stuff. But, the bottom line is they opened the door and they brought me here. They made it possible for me to be here now, working together with my spirit guides and my own plans in my third dimensional way of thinking. That is divine, because your plans, if your plans and the plans of your spirit guides and your higher self merge, it means that you're really walking in your path, okay? And it also shows that you cannot go wrong, and you are not derailing from yourself, and you should always trust yourself, no matter where you are, what stage you are. No matter where you are, what stage you are in your awakening process, in your life purpose, whatever, trust that your plans and the things that you do that is connected to your heart is actually leading you to where you need to be, because that is what it did for me. Yes, it may be obscured a little bit, and I was so caught up in myself, but that's what the higher beings and the higher aspects of me even wanted me to see, my greatness. And so when I saw my greatness through my awakening, I realized that I'm too big. I had too much to give to settle for fashion. Now fashion is part of it. All my artistic gifts are there. I can paint, I can do so many things. I'm so multi-talented. But all that is come into the physical form, and it's under this earthly realm. It's not pertaining to all the other things, other aspects of my dimensions and what they want from me and what all that wants from me. So trust yourself, whatever stage you're in. Realize that everything is in divine timing. Go with your heart, but also don't ever neglect the messages the spirit guides give you, the interventions, the dreams. Everything is for your own good. And sometimes until you step into your purpose, you will continue to have intense moments with the spirit beings until you really do that, and then they start to leave you alone a little bit, and then you are the one that's blossoming. You're the one that actually you just go to them for encouragement. And that is a beautiful thing, because now it's like all I have to do is ask the question, and then I get the answer in my head immediately, and I trust it, and I know what is my voice and what is not my voice. So trust your path. Know that you're a spiritual being having a physical experience. Know that your purpose is not waiting for you. You need to jump on it. Understand also that the awakening is not the journey. So the earlier you awaken to your spiritual being, the better for you. The awakening is the doorway for you to remember who you are. It is not the be all and end all, because a lot of us, we get awakened, we go to a spiritual awakening, a third eye awakening, or even a crown chakra awakening, and whatever awakening that we go, whatever stage we're in, and we think that that is the path, and we wear the spiritual coat hanger on us, like the clothing. I'm spiritual, I'm awakened, I'm growing, I'm developing my gift, and that's it. No, it is not why you are here. You're not here to awaken to a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being, so you cannot be here to prove yourself to yourself that you're a spiritual being. I feel like most of us are proving to ourselves, trying to see who we are and find our power. We're not here to do that. Yes, we're here to wake up. We're here to know that we're spiritual beings. We're supposed to know and remember, but we don't. Yes, so when you finally do get on the bandwagon, yes, you've done it. But the bigger thing to me is, what are you here to do? Your spiritual awakening is your personal path. It is you just remembering who you are and what stage you are in as your evolution goes as a spiritual person. So that is just the tip of the iceberg. To me, is the first step of you realizing and uncovering all your unconscious experiences through all your life paths. But now that you are awakened, what are you here to do? Not everybody is a spiritual teacher. Whatever you're doing, there are levels to that. If you are a doctor, there is a spiritual aspect to being a doctor, and there's a physical aspect to being a doctor, and there's a mental aspect to being a doctor. Play your role in all of that essence. Realize it. Whatever your Lord node is, figure it out and see that in that Lord node there is 3 parts to it. There's a spiritual essence to it, there's a mental essence to it, to you growing and adjusting to it, and there's a physical essence to it. Figure it all out and become that being and walk in that light, because time waits for no man. The world is not going to end, but your time here in the physical form is going to end. And it is time for you to stop wasting time going through spiritual awakening process, waiting to gain more spiritual power, more spiritual this. Yes, it will happen and unfold if you continue to meditate and continue to follow the spiritual practices. You will develop and awaken to who you are already, and get lucky enough to even awaken to new gifts that you want and desire. But that is not your path. That's all that I want to say. The spiritual awakening is not your path. It is just for you to awaken and realize, oh, I'm here now. Oh, okay, so, all right, this is the stage that I'm in. Okay, what am I going to do? That's the part. So, yes, the pandemic made me wake up on so many levels. I understood it. I understood it, overstood it, and understood it. So, in all of this, during the pandemic is when I'm feeling more stronger. I am getting more courage. I'm becoming more brave because I have stepped into my power and I have stepped into my purpose. And I am not scared anymore. I don't even feel the effects of the pandemic. Yes, people are dying. Things are horrible. But this is the time where I'm also living my purpose. And so my mind is focused on being that light. And so that is a beautiful thing. So like I've said so much today already. And we're going to continue having these conversations to help all my fellow, my fellow beings that watch me to get to know me more, to get a little personal. This gets dicey, it can become salty, it can become weird, but I can only come from here. I can only tell you the truth. I cannot make up things to come and sit here. And that is part of the reason why I am a 9 life path. I am here to do what I'm doing, and I have stepped in it, and I don't want to hold anything back anymore. I am a goddess, having experience, a physical experience. I have developed so much spiritual gifts along my life paths, and this is the lifetime that I chose to be more about the people than about myself. I've been wealthy before. I've been there, done all that. So let's do this together. I love you all. I hope that what we talked about, do whatever it's going to do for you, and it helps me to release and to me to stay in my purpose, knowing that my life is an example also, and we're all one of the same light being, So I look forward to having many more spiritual conversations with you, my soul group. And for all that, find this video. I hope that in the midst of this pandemic, you also see what's more important. Find the pinnacle, find the most precious, prioritize what is the most important thing. And that to me is your life purpose. Find it and walk it. Love you guys. Namaste, and thank you for being here with me. Love you guys. Bye.